and welcome back to Anna's Solo Sessions. I'm so sorry it took so long for me to actually record another episode. I'm actually thinking of rebranding, even though it's fairly new. This is the third episode. I'm already thinking of rebranding to just Nerd Therapy. Since that's the episode for today, another Nerd Therapy. This one is the Barbie movie review. I kind of took a lot of time to contemplate the movie, think back, reflect on what I saw in the movie theaters. And now I'm ready to share my thoughts and opinions on the Barbie movie. So, first of all, I will be discussing the film, characters, plots, and missed opportunities. Because yes, the Barbie movie wasn't perfect. No movie really is, unless you are the Lord of the Rings. But still. So first, I would like to begin with the overall film. What was it about? So first off, I would like to start with the Ken controversy. I thought that Ryan Gosling did a good job as Ken, even though I hated the character as Ken. I felt they took a large liberty with the character and strayed it off from the main idea we as film fans already had. And I would like actually to point out that the Barbie movie really did stay way off from the Barbie movies. It centered more on the Barbie doll lines than the Barbie movies themselves. So they didn't the characters didn't have the same essence that the characters do in the Barbie cinematic universe. And that really bothered me because of Ken. I love Ken. He's a darling. He is a simp for Barbie. We all know that. But he's good and he's kind, hardworking, intelligent. And they put him out to be a dumb baby, you know? That really bothered me. And I don't know why. And there's this trend on TikTok where in an episode of Barbie Life in the Dream House, Ken decides to do his own room for the dudes, kind of like the predecessor of the Mojo Dojo Casa House was the Ken Den. If you saw that, Ken actually asked for permission, invited Barbie in, took Barbie's feelings into consideration for the Ken Den, and respectable king, you know? And I think the movie kind of looked at Ken's profile and said, we're not gonna do any of that. Toss it to the trash. And that really hurt me. Am I biased about it? Yes, obviously I am. Is this going to be a biased review? Probably not. I looked at it from, a film student filmmaker's perspective. But the Ken section of this podcast will be me ranting, totally biased about it. Point aside about Ken's character. Simu's Ken portrayal, actually that was really fun. It was really refreshing. I don't know why I have such hate towards Ryan's Ken. I thought it didn't meet my expectations, I guess, because probably Ken is one of the most recognized characters in the Barbie lore, and we all know him to be like this super sweet, supportive boyfriend to Barbie, and the movie kind of led us on the other direction. Um, Besides that, I don't think I have anything more to say about Ken. But it was really disappointing. All the movie, like when I was watching, I was like, this is not my Ken. Who is this imposter? So yeah, I actually wrote down in my notes app after I got like out of the movie theater. I literally opened my iPhone and was like, okay, let's start writing. And I just wrote, why Ken? Why? And then I wrote, Simu's Ken was 10 out of 10. And yeah, those are my thoughts on Ken. And then moving on to another character which really pissed me off was Sasha. I just saw her as an annoying kid. And I don't think the character brought enough to the table, like to fully justify her existence. Like I saw Sasha as just a token to justify that Gloria was a mom. Like that's it. I felt like she didn't portray a teenager as a teenager is. Like if you're gonna be mad at the world, be mad at it. Not just change your opinion because you change settings. Like I felt like Sasha just adapted to her settings and didn't have an identity of her own, which like I was pissed because I was like, better take her off. Like the movie would have still worked without her. I wrote, hated the child. If you're gonna commit to being a pain in the ass, little know-it-all, take that shit to the grave. And I wrote this because we see Sasha in the real world like being mad at everyone, like being so over her mom. But the minute she steps inside Barbie Land, she's like, oh no, I'm gonna help you. We're gonna be besties. Like I want things to go back to the way they were. Like, but how did you get to that conclusion? Like, what was the story arc that led you to that development? We didn't see it on screen. We like the spectators just saw the jump from A to C without the B in between, and that really just ticked me off, especially because I'm such a character driven film viewer. Like I love character developments, I love character led stories, and it just bugged me, you know. It bugged me. I left the cinema like feeling uncomfy about this character in particular, and that also led me to have some notes about Gloria's character development as well. So for Gloria, the character played by America Ferrera, I love her, okay? She did an amazing job. I just felt like the mom character had a really missed opportunity to explore the struggles of depression themselves. I felt that had they taken the child away and just made Gloria like a working adult struggling to grip with like the idea of being an adult, kind of like every 20 to 30-year-old is struggling with the grip of getting into adult life, not being a teenager anymore, and being, you know, independent and being alone. Like if they had portrayed that struggle of actually being alone, you know, in the world, having to do things by yourself, for yourself, I think that would have had a more deep impact, personally for me and my generation, who is about to enter this era of being independent and being alone. Like, well, most of my generation's already alone because they're studying abroad, but for those who have yet to experience being alone and being independent, I think that would have hit harder. I actually wrote, they would have, could have, should have, reference to Taylor Swift, given Gloria, the mom, some depression. Like, oh, she's sad, but then she's happy. Nah, mate. Give me something to actually cry about. I think they could have and should have given it more depth. Like, why is she sad? Oh yeah, her kid doesn't like her, but no. Why? Why is, like, Sasha's rejection of her giving her that train of thought? I felt it wasn't justified enough. Maybe that's me, but I would have liked more depth. I just felt it was unauthentic. Well, I wouldn't say unauthentic. I just felt it was very superficial. It felt very superficial. I would have liked maybe a more in-depth story. If you're gonna run with Sasha being her kid, okay, let's run with that. But still give me more to actually like buy into it. Like, I just felt like they were like roommates. They just lived there. They were just in the same house, but I didn't felt like a deep connection between mother and daughter as one does, for example, with Brave. You watch the movie Brave, the story centers around Merida and her mother's relationship. It's a beautiful story arc, and it actually justifies the change at the end of the movie. Whereas this change isn't really justified, and I don't know, it just felt incomplete for me. It just felt like they could have done more. That aside, Gloria's speech about feminism and being a woman in this world and the struggles we live as a woman, that all of that, I have nothing to say. It was actually perfect. I think they did a good job. So yeah, I have nothing else to say. It was pretty great. I shed a tear, actually. I could feel like her desperation in her speech while she was saying this to Barbie. So good job. On that note, on the character development, not so much, in my humble opinion. So I just mentioned like Gloria's speech and character motivations. The speech was fine. The character motivations, not so much, especially for Sasha. But I mean, it got the point across. Okay, so what I'm about to say is totally biased. As a Barbie film fan, I was really disappointed to see the absence of characters like Chelsea, Stacy, Teresa, Raquel, and all of the Barbie squad from either Barbie Life in the Dream House, Barbie Dream House Adventures, or the Barbie films like Barbie Fashion Fairy Tale, Barbie A Fairy Secret. You know what I'm talking about. If you watch the films, you know. So we only got the mention of Skipper, which they didn't show her in the movie, which was weird. But they did mention that a similar incident had happened to Skipper, the same way as it happened to Barbie and Ken, where they left Barbie Land and into the real world. Which does it leave a door open for a sequel or maybe a prequel? Possibly. And they did mention Midge, which she was pregnant. And I mean, that's okay because they were taking references from the Barbie doll lines, not so much from the Barbie series, where in the Barbie Life in the Dream House she's not pregnant. I think she's black and white, isn't she? And then she gets like colored. So yeah, I think the main issue that bugged me a lot as a Barbie film fan was the absence of Easter eggs referencing the original Barbie movies. And I think that influenced my main disappointment overall upon first seeing the film. Like, that was my main reaction after leaving the cinema. I was like, there was no mention of the original films. I'm so sad. But looking back at it, I mean, it's fine. It's an okay movie. It's a good movie. I just would have wished they had taken the time to plant some little Easter eggs for us, the film Barbie Cinematic Universe fans. That's okay. Moving on to this is another unnecessary plot point that I felt was completely useless was the existence of the dad. Like, we only get one like scene with him and he's doing Duolingo and he doesn't really say much. Like, he doesn't add to the storyline. I felt that it was completely unnecessary. They could have used those 30 seconds on another thing. I don't know. It felt like a waste of time. Like, showing us the dad, like, okay. Or they could have made Gloria a single mom. I think that would have also helped on her feeling lonely. Like, if it was just like Gloria and her kid, like, I can see her being lonely, but she's married. She has a father, a husband. Well, who am I to judge, right? I just felt it was really unnecessary, in my personal opinion. And moving on to Barbie. I think Margaret Robbie's portrayal of Barbie was really good. I just didn't like the character. And not because she was a superficial, like, normal Barbie. I don't remember like her like name in the movie. I felt that it lacked a lot of development and reasoning for Barbie's decision in the last part of the film. Like, I mean, I saw, I think it was Modern Girls do a review too, and she also mentioned that it was really unjustified, Barbie's decision to go back to the real world, because whilst she was in the real world, she only saw the bad stuff, and she was there for like maximum 3 hours. Like, what made you change your decision to go back? I think that was very unjustified. I would have wished if Barbie would have spent more time in the real world and actually got to experience good emotions, good things happening to her. Like, she only experienced like aggression, denial, sexual assault. Who in their right mind would want to go back to that? I feel they could have done a storyline where Barbie goes back to Gloria's house, and there Gloria, Sasha, and Barbie try to navigate emotions and feelings, and they have to survive alone to not get caught, and somehow Barbie like helps Sasha see that her mom really needs her and that they must stick together because women must support women, something like that. I think would have had a more deep deeper effect on the storyline and the plot itself, because I don't think the choices align with the character, and that's it. I also felt that going back to Barbie not being Barbie Roberts from the cinematic universe, it was pretty weird to see her do all those things and question herself as she does in the film, compared to what we as a Barbie fandom know about Barbie Roberts. Because Barbie, she obviously has her downs, but she's really creative and knows how to get herself out of things and knows how to get people united. And I don't know, I think they just put her as a dumb blonde for a part of the film, which I really didn't like. But I also understand that it's part of the character, and that's fine. I just want you to justify me the end decision. Like, okay, Pinocchio ending, you decided to be a real boy, but why? Like, for instance, let's take Pinocchio for example. Pinocchio, all the storyline is set in the real world. He gets to go to school, gets to actually see the bad stuff of humanity, whilst also seeing the good stuff, with Geppetto actually risking his life to save him, and all of this transcends and actually justifies the action of being a real boy at the end. Whilst Barbie, she spends some time in the real world, gets to see all the ugliest parts of us in humanity, then goes back to Barbie Land, and there she sees a lot of more ugly stuff about what Ken took from the real world into Barbie Land, creating it Ken's land, you know? So, yes, there is an empowering moment with America Ferrera's Gloria's speech, but still, what made her decide to go back into the real world? Like, that's a question, a plot hole that still like lingers in my mind. Like, what made you do that? I don't understand. And I know I'm not supposed to understand. It's a movie. It's not even the real world as we see. It's a really like character world. It's not actually our world, you know? So I think, like, overall it's a good movie. I really enjoyed the dance sequences and the singing montage from Ken. It was really, really funny. It is a funny movie. It could have been funnier, I will say. And I think they were too scared to go the distance. I feel if the movie had been longer, like 3 hours long, I think they could have gotten the message across better, and people wouldn't have complained. We wouldn't have complained. Like, I'd sit through a 3-hour movie any day if it's a good movie. I can sit through a marathon of the Lord of the Rings extended editions without hesitation, because the plot lines, the character development, it all just fits so perfectly in the time being. I cannot watch like the cinematic releases where it's like 2.5 hours. I cannot, because there's so much essence from the character developments missing. And I feel like if we ever do get like a Greta director's cut of the Barbie movie, and it's like 3 hours long, and it explores more the decisions of the characters, the character development of Gloria and Barbie and even Sasha, I would actually like really love this film. But for now, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. And my overall rating would be probably a 4 out of 5. And 7.5 out of 10. There's room for improvement. It was good, but there's room for improvement. So just to wrap up this episode, if you're listening, I thank you for listening. Let me know what you thought about the movie. I'm really interested because from what I've heard, a lot of people actually love it, and not to throw shade or anything, but once I bring out the problem and the plot holes of the characters, they're like, oh, well, now that you mention it, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So I would like to know what you know. I mean, what you thought. I didn't go watch the film a second time in the movie theaters. I just watched it once. Mainly because I haven't had the time. I'm back at school. You know, grinding 8th semester out of 9, so I'm in the long stretch now. So yeah, let me know what you thought about the movie. Did any of my points actually like resonate with yours? You know, let me know. You can tell me I'm completely wrong. You know, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But I'm interested in like hearing everyone else's thoughts. I mean, these are thoughts from a stubborn Barbie Cinematic Universe fan, so it doesn't count for everything, but it counts for something. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I don't know when I'll be filming my next podcast. Hopefully soon. I'm trying to work out a schedule, so stay tuned. Follow for more, I guess. Bye guys.